and I go, Red Robin. And the entire auditorium, this is where I peaked as a human being. Yum. This is my
That's classic.
well, everybody, welcome to the first episode of the ForCast. My name is Nathan Elks. I've got Adam right here to my right, and our special guest for today's episode, Ty Anderson, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy of many voices and few he's proud of. I'm kidding.
That's absolutely true. But bump.
Alrighty. Well, I'll pass it over to you to kind of introduce yourself and talk about you a little bit. Before that, though, Adam, why are we here?
So the idea is to go ahead and lay down some slick audio for you cats, so then that way you can understand just how we go through our process and the actors that actually make all of this work. Not to mention, we're also going to be talking about a few board game ideas and things that are coming up in the future. We're going to be talking about upcoming Kickstarters and what we kind of see on the horizon. We're also going to be talking about what Forteller is going to be doing, and hopefully we're going to be having just a heck of a lot of fun.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, the goal here is just to have a really good time meeting with the people who are in the products that you guys enjoy and hearing a little bit of the behind-the-scenes action. Speaking of which, Ty Anderson, you've been in a million things that we have done and a million things coming up. But how about you give us a little info on yourself?
I was born on an island in the Galapagos. No,
Get my violin out real quick. Hold on.
Oh, la, la. My name is Ty Anderson, and I'm an older fart. Old as dirt, as they say. Not really. But I've been doing voice work professionally for about 6 years. Been doing this for about 12 years. And been doing voices since I was probably 6 years old, of course. Looney Tunes, Mel Blanc. I'm going to throw in my brother, Gus Lawson, of course, because without him, I would have never discovered Monty Python, Godzilla, morning cartoons, kickball, so many things. So he's one of my influences. Robin Williams, probably one of my major influences, and Saturday Night Live, SCTV, anything involved with TV in movies I was really into as a kid. I did radio for a while, country, talk, rock, all of that stuff. It got boring, and then one day I actually called up. I don't know if you guys know who Danny Bonaducci is.
I've heard the name,
Yeah, he was the redheaded kid on the Partridge Family, and he got into a lot of trouble. Well, he became a radio host, personality in Seattle, and he had a show called Ask Dr. Danny. So I called him up and said, "Hey, how can I get into doing the voiceover work for for this?" And they let me do a live call in for a president's sale at a car sale. Since then, I've been doing all sorts of voice work. It's been nonstop, not nonstop work, but nonstop working towards being a professional voice actor. I've done work with Gearbox. I've worked on Borderlands 3 offshoot, a DLC. Oh yeah, the first one I did was I did the Malex, and it was Borderlands 3 DLC 2, Love Guns and Tentacles, and I played all the Malex. So if you play it and you hear all those guys walking around the Malex, those are all me. I didn't know that until I saw a YouTube video and discovered that they're all me. And then I went up to record just for that, and then they asked me to do an evil tome, an evil book. And so the book sounds just like this. Oh, that's the most delicious guacamole you've ever had in your life. And it's called the Nibblenomicon. Great name, Nibblenomicon. The Nibbler. If you guys have ever seen, of course, Futurama, that's what I thought of instantly.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got called again to do work for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And when my character was finished, Gargle Snot, which is a kind of an off-take of Gargamel, and the Smurfs are evil in the game, you have to kind of find me. I'm one of those sidetracks. But I found out I became a mini boss.
I played through that storyline, actually.
Yeah.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland was a ton of fun.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun doing that. And it kind of had a little bit of the Joker in it. And I do the Joker a lot. So, I was still trying to do Gargamel. But of course, Joker comes out. It's just they sometimes match up. And I had a lot of people for a long time going, "Oh, that's Mark Hamill. That's Mark Hamill. That's Mark
I
Hamill."
thought it was, honestly.
Well, thank you. I actually do the Mark Hamill Joker quite a bit. Oh, look, Batsy, looks like you're not going to make it this time. So that one, and I would say my most proudest moment, believe it or not, is I did a submarine sailor
Mhm.
for the USS Bowfin Submarine Museum at Pearl Harbor.
Really? I didn't know
So
about that at
when
all, actually.
Yeah, when you go on there and you do the audio tour, I'm one of the submarine sailor voices.
I've
And
done
it
yeah.
was my hardest voiceover ever because it wasn't anything about a character.
Mhm.
It was a person, it was a voice, it was a real human at one time, and it was really cool to do.
Mhm.
So, beautiful. I'm just happy about that. And all the work
That's
I'm happy,
actually
especially with Forteller. I love working with you guys. You guys you're awesome. I'll
We
just
didn't pay
put
him
it
to say
down
that.
there.
We just paid him to work for us.
Absolutely not. You didn't pay me in this beverage. No, I'm saying, no, this is
Not
absolutely
sponsored, not
fun.
sponsored.
Not
Well, that's
sponsored.
that's actually a really good point, right? So you've worked with Forteller on quite a few projects now, and
Yes.
one of my favorite roles that you actually did for us is the orphan, and you remember that process. I remember it pretty dearly myself. We spent quite some time, kind of cultivating that voice even before we recorded it.
Yeah.
But ultimately the decision for all the stilting that we did in there, that was something that you kind of had come up with, and
Yeah.
I think that worked out really well. But how is the difference between working with, like, say, a company like Gearbox and working with Forteller? Like, is there any differences, or is it?
Well, with Gearbox, if I wanted, and if they don't have a distant recording area here around the Houston area, then I would drive up to Dallas to record. That's what 500 miles round trip every time I go up there, and worth every second of it, because to tell somebody that I went into a recording booth, that's another thing is, yes, you're in a booth. Um, Somebody's on the other side of a wall watching you and giving you direction. And it's okay. It's pretty nice. But with Forteller, for me, it's more personal.
Mhm.
I'm here at home. I'm with people that I enjoy working with. I really do. You know how hard that is to find in the recording industry, in the voiceover industry? People just want to get stuff done and get out of there. With working with you, Adam, is truly a pleasure. I mean, I've never found any group of people that I can work with like this
Mhm.
that I feel comfortable with, and we can take our time and we can do it right. And that's what I liked about coming on here to the forecast, was getting to be able to talk to Nate a little bit more, get to learn more about him, and more about you, Adam. And as you can tell, I stutter a lot because it's, you know, my mind is just doing one of these and I'm trying to get the words out. But the difference is, I would have to say, the friendly side of it. It's not unfriendly to go record for a big company. Don't get me wrong. It's really cool. It's the money's nice, but to be like this on a one-on-one and get to know a person over
Mhm.
time. I have worked with Adam for a year, over a year straight, and we know a lot about each other, and we met under circumstances, and it grew, and to me it's kind of grown into a long distance friendship that's important to me. And I'm hoping, and it's starting with you too, Nate, where,
Thank you.
you know, and I'll be truthful, I've been in Texas for 4 years, and I can't I can't make a friend here. I don't mean to say that, but I haven't made a friend. You guys are my friends. You guys are the people that I look forward to talking to when I can. Sometimes I'll bug Nate like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, Nate's like, or Adam's like, "Leave me alone. I'm really, really busy." And I'm like, "Oh, I hurt his feelings."
Nah, he's just going a
So
mile a minute every
I know,
time.
but it's a personal thing.
Mhm.
To
Yeah.
I would rather record here with
Mm.
you guys than drive the 500-mile round trip, even though it's really cool and you can get pictures and you were there.
Hmm.
This is it, man, because you're more personable.
And
You
I'll
know,
I'll also second that as well. I've not even been with Forteller for a year yet, but I met Adam at Gen Con last year, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'd love to voice act for you guys, and I'd love to audition." And he's like, "What kind of setup do you have?" I'm like, "Well, I was in my closet. Definitely not as nice as this one, and I'm still missing a sound panel here that I need to
yes.
reattach. It's a piece of cardboard on the wall." But yeah, he's like, "Hey, man, I'd rather it sound like you are in a room with your friends talking, and still be professional." Because it'll sound great on the phone, on whatever speaker they're playing it through, because it'll sound like somebody's there in the room talking to them as
Yeah.
that character, not something detached entirely. And that was
Yeah,
something I was like, okay, I can get behind
I
this
think
guy.
I
Yeah.
think well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate both of you guys for putting up with my nonsense for the better part of a year. For those of you guys out there, Nate was kind of my co-producer, I suppose. That's the best terminology for the Skellies.
Mhm.
And the big idea, I think, with kind of coming together with the independent voice acting crowd and also just the people that we're kind of working with was to kind of collectively do something. And when we were working on the Skellies, like it was a pretty tedious amount of work. And
Mhm.
Nate was just all about it, and he came in and he really brought a lot of like you know uh not only encouragement but also just his own ideas, and it was really helpful at that time. And I mean, it was just me and Nate, like we were working on
Hmm.
everything, trying to make all of those things happen.
And that was a super hectic time too. No, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
without
mean,
going into too much detail, that was crunch time. We were releasing Frosthaven at the like on that weekend.
yep.
And due to all like certain other delays and things, that was a tough, crunch time for sure.
Yeah, and not to mention the holidays, right?
Yeah,
Because
right. Yep, definitely. It
that's
was like
also
it was
something
December
that's going on.
15th, I think is the day it was.
Yeah,
So
it
people were
was.
getting ready to go on vacation. We were hoping that the voice actors, all of the nominees, would get their acceptance speeches in, and those were great.
It's actually funny because anytime we talk about these voice actors now, like you guys haven't interacted in real life, right? But
Mhm.
in the games, like both of you guys have actually interacted with Alex, because Alex usually plays some kind of heroic character.
Mm.
And for those of you out in the Forteller verse, if you will, um, that don't know, Ty is, generally speaking, he usually is either going to be an older person in the game or, generally speaking, a bad guy. He likes to play some pretty interesting characters, and a lot of the time those dialogues tend to lead on the villainous side.
Hmm.
Nate kind of actually
I was gonna say
runs the
that's the
gamut.
same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, he runs a similar gamut, but for
I'm following your footsteps, Ty.
Well, you're just a younger version of me. No,
Also, probably a
sorry.
little more heavy set too.
yeah, so when we were creating the award show for the Skellies, there was like a lot of different ideas of like how can we present this
Hmm.
this data and also have it be meaningful, not only to foreteller and board gamers but also to the voice acting community who we really are doing the show for. It was more to pay homage to everybody that's put in their hard work for the
Hmm.
better part of that year. And we really wanted to just kind of give back to that voice acting community that we love so much and I love so much. And it's like you said, a lot of people think, hey, I don't have the most professional setup, like I can't go out for these parts. No, it's absolutely not true.
Hmm.
In the sound design world, being on the talking just quickly to the directorial end, sometimes a studio environment is nice because it is such a like non-diegetic environment where
Hmm.
I can get a really clean, kind of precise take. And yeah, I can use that for whatever. But sometimes I have to add those audio ambiances anyway. So getting a little bit of room noise really isn't a big deal. And in
Even a
fact, it
yeah,
makes it
even a
a
little
lot
bit of
better.
echo on the voice comeback, yeah, because
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
that happens when I open my door. There's
Yeah.
just I can actually vary on how much echo I really want, but I
Yeah.
prefer not to. So yeah, I totally understand, Adam. Really
But
understand. A
but it's
good
almost like a natural voice effect, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
Because you can then stick a person in a room, which generally speaking, a person's not just speaking in a blank space in space, unless you're Neil deGrasse Tyson. He just always is narrating those the cosmos and all those
I watch
things.
that show to go to sleep now.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I love
Definitely,
it.
it's good information, but yeah, after watching it once or twice, it'll put you to bed real quick.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, just to kind of give the audience a sneak peek here, and those of you who are enjoying the video, so this is the skeletal mock-up.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool.
So I'm only going to show
And
it
it
for a little
changes.
bit here.
Will that change color if I get it? Like, will it turn from yellow to blue? You see that,
It's
Nate?
your filter that you've got on is messing with it a little bit.
But it looks
it's super
that's
cool.
awesome.
It's super
Well,
cool.
Yeah,
We'll probably get a little more a clearer picture of it, and then
that's fine. No, that even looking at that right there is awesome. Is
Mhm.
is the skull sad? Is the skull head sad? Is there a skull head?
Yes, there's a skull. The statue is actually holding the skull. Much, kind of that was a decision that we had made to kind of keep it within the universe of kind of Shakespearean actors. But there
Oh,
is
I love
a
that.
surprise that nobody knows about, and not even Nate knows about until right now.
What?
Yeah. So if you see here,
Oh my God!
yeah,
I was told it was
so-
gonna be a
I knew something was gonna do cool with that.
I was told it's gonna be a wood base with a little placard
Ladies
on
and
it.
gentlemen, the Skelly Award, designed by the one, the only Adam Leibauer.
Yep.
Woo,
And this is
yeah.
all fully assembled kind of piece here, but this is not the finished one. This is just my my production copy. So yeah, for all you voice actors out there that might be listening and may have won one of these or wants to try to win one of these.
Hey, good segue.
Nice,
How you-
nice, nice.
Yeah, and we've already planning Skelly's for this year as well. No date confirmed yet. Obviously, it's April, so
I gotta work better. I gotta work harder. That's just plain and simple. I gotta get.
That's the big
I
thing.
wanna
A
win
lot of people
two.
were asking Ty, where's Frosthaven? Why wasn't Frosthaven in the Skellies this last year? Because I mean, we had a lot of good nominees last year. A lot of good the roles people were coming out for. It, that was good stuff. And it was, more than just a year's worth, but it was basically a retrospective Skellies for everything that we'd put out up to that point.
That was a big ass game, plain and simple.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to like clap for both you guys on what you did on working on that, because I know that's not easy, man. Truly.
Well, I'm just not that funny normally.
Yeah.
We'll get into Frosthaven and the behind the scenes stuff about that here in a minute, but just to finish up the Skellies, Frosthaven came out, like I said, the same day basically that we were doing the Skellies, within the same week, and it was a massive undertaking. And that game will definitely, that Sleeping Gods, we've got some other stuff coming out this year that are all going to be a part of the Skellies this year. It's going to be some tough competition for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I just the fact that Frosthaven and Isofarian Guard are standing on the same plinths, like regardless of whether or not you're a board gamer, these both of these games are like literally like bells and whistles to the nine, sound design coming out of every orifice that they possibly have, and it's literally like, oh man, I mean, all the actors just killed every part and every single one of those. It's going to be such stiff competition, but the really exciting part about that is that we're going to get to kind of show off some of these actors and what they've done, and it's very exciting because in the world of voice acting, I feel like the products get a lot of attention, and that's great, right? It's obviously the goal, but you don't get to often hear about the voice actors, and it's kind of a shame, so we want to really
Unless
sure
you're
that we've done
famous.
that.
Unless you're a
Oh,
famous
unless you're
voice.
yeah, but that's the kind of the point of Forteller, right? Is that we're all famous, man.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I did before this, I recorded like a 90 chapter, dozens of characters audiobook before I started reaching out to Adam. I finished my voice acting course, and then I was looking for work. I went to Gen Con because I was going to go anyway, and met Adam, and then I was recording in, like I said, not like this. I had a big old dresser that's in my other room right now, and a bunch of A clamps that I just put the biggest comforter I had and
Yeah,
built a
yeah.
box. And
And that's an awesome
it did
setup.
work, man. It
Yep.
exactly. And it
As
Oh, yeah.
long
definitely
as
it paid for
you
this here. That 1 gig
yeah,
paid for this.
yeah, as long as you don't have a big arch ceiling,
Hmm.
and if you do, then you just cut you. Sorry, I'm like way afraid. If you do, then you just kind of find a way to cover it. I went and bought inside my booth. Between us, is the crappiest booth you'd ever step into. It's duct tape, and it's the packing blankets that we use to move down here.
Always.
Not
Yep.
not the big thick ones, but the kind of the crappy gray ones.
Hmm.
My sound floor is negative 57, man. I wouldn't that's kind of where you want your sound floor at. And
Exactly.
I'm not super proud, but hey man, I'm happy that I can come in here and I
It
know
gets work done.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. And we're all doing a great job on whatever we work in and use to get those voices out and get them to where
Hmm.
people can hear them.
So let's talk
Yeah.
So
about Frosthaven a little bit now. Speaking of that, we've all, I think all three of us, Adam, I know you were, Ty, of course, and I was all involved in Frosthaven.
yeah,
Let's talk about it purely from the voice actor standpoint, and then we'll go into the production side, Adam.
sure.
But Frosthaven, working on that was a ton of fun. The characters that all of us were in, we were in for Frosthaven, fantastic. I had a ton of fun. Adam, out of your characters, if you want to claim any of them, who do you think was your favorite?
Um, well, so the characters that I generally got to play in Frosthaven were really, really tertiary, and
Hmm.
tertiary might even be honestly a bit generous. I generally just backed up the voice actors or like provided background voices in this case. And that's because I had just so much to do as far
Hmm.
as directing and making sure that all the audio was correct because we're talking about a team of 15 sound designers, orchestral stuff, getting, different compositions of music made, different sounds made for the sound designers, and then also taking on the role of kind of the casting director and
Hmm.
reaching out to everybody to kind of get these things recorded. So, I mean, beyond Isaac, Isaac Childress is the writer of
Hmm.
Frosthaven for everybody out there in the audience. And he's a wonderful dude. And he really put together like an all-star cast of writers for that because he wanted different writing styles and stuff for the different scenarios, but keeping that vision in line became kind of um my métier. But that's not to say that I don't have a few favorite characters that
Hmm.
other people played.
Okay, okay,
So
we'll hear that.
yeah. So a couple of the characters that I think just absolutely rock stars shined was I had mentioned The Orphan before by Ty. It really is a character that is
Hmm.
unforgettable.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you,
it,
man. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
I,
It means a
I'm
lot to me.
I wish that I could say that I'm just here like yanking your chain and like being like, well, Ty Anderson is our guest today, and no. I truly love The Orphan. It, from the writing aspect, it's great. From the voice acting aspect, it's great. From all the tech work that we had to do for the vocal effects, it's great. Like it is just so much work. I think that character probably has $10,000 worth of sound design, like just
Yeah.
around it,
Hmm.
and it is truly awesome.
It was good.
But
It was fun. It was good to finally hear it. Nate, you played it for me.
I did, yeah, and I'll probably play a little clip here
And I was
in
like,
between
wow, it was wow. I was
but
just
because
the
you'd
Orphan.
never heard it fully edited at all.
no,
You've just
no,
heard
I
your
haven't
own
heard
recording.
no. I haven't heard any of my voices fully edited except for The Orphan.
You come to our home and lay waste to it. You who bound us in servitude and then abandon us. You come to immure us once again.
I trust Adam enough, and as long as I get the voice that he wants to hear, that he thinks they want to hear,
Hmm.
I'm good. It's kind of like real quick when I did independent movies. Hey, you want to come see yourself? No. Is it good? Yeah, I don't want to see myself. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
But
I don't like myself.
but beyond the Orphan, I think Glint is a really wonderful character. He's kind of a check-in point for the characters and the players. He sort of gives you quests and stuff. He's like this really kind of gritty, sort of like I don't really want to be here kind of guy,
Mhm.
and just an excellent character. And then Satha, Mayor Satha,
Yeah, Sotha's great. I was gonna say
legendary.
Satha and Captain Olmsted.
Captain
Olmsted.
Olmsted.
Those
Yeah,
two are probably my favorite because you hear them the most.
yeah. Well, you know, it's pretty easy to get kind of lost in the rhythm, but you got to also remember that like some these actors also played like individual characters. Like there's um I can't really tell you because I'm not going to give away spoilers, and I know that this one's a spoiler, but Ty also plays one of the main characters. Um and they're a Vermling character, but I don't want to tell you how that kind of happens, but
Mhm.
let's just say the French Canadian kind of thing worked out pretty well for that character. So it's a lot of fun, and I mean, even if you're not a board gamer, you know, you can always pick up Frosthaven
Right.
and on the Forteller application, and just listen through the scenarios because it's hilarious, and it's a lot of fun, and you'll get all the story beats,
Mhm.
but I really highly suggest if you are interested in playing a board game with your family, or if you are interested in sitting down with a group of friends like each week, Frosthaven is something to chew through that
Mhm.
is going to be an experience from end to end. And you know, we even got so far as to be able to make a soundtrack. So the orphan
Yeah.
has his own theme that's on the soundtrack, and you know, it's directly related to Frosthaven. But if you guys want to hear some of the music that was used in Frosthaven, it's called Frozen to the Deck,
Mhm.
and you can actually listen to it on Spotify as well,
Yep.
Wow. Right on.
And YouTube Music as well.
and YouTube Music.
Nice.
And I think it'll be on Apple Music here soon, if not already. By the
To
time
Yeah.
this
somebody who
is out,
does,
it should be.
so
Mhm.
to somebody who doesn't know what those are, what are those? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It's
Make
our
me,
resident man
make,
under a rock, Ty
make me,
Anderson.
yeah. Here I am. What do you got?
But yeah,
Spotify. I Spotify it right over there. Sorry. That's
to kind of cap off that conversation for Frosthaven, you know, I had a ton of fun on it as well. Um, probably my favorite interaction with Frosthaven so far was me and my group were playing, and we randomly drew one of the cards. I don't remember the card names, right? So I don't know which ones I'm in. We we click the button, and it starts playing. I'm like, oh guys, this is me. I'm not gonna provide any you know opinions on what we should do in this scenario because I don't want it because I kind of know what happens, right? And they chose every wrong decision to avoid hearing more of my character. It was really I was like, guys, come on, and they're like, well, we'll just kind of. One of the rewards was to get the next quest line. I was like, well, we'll just kind of slip that one in there because I wanted to
Yeah,
hear it.
yeah,
But
but
yeah.
yeah, no, that's the beauty of this kind of work. And I've been told by other voice actors during that Frosthaven process that it's some of the most fun that they've ever had
Hmm.
doing voice acting work. And I think that it kind of lends itself to knowing that you're going to be part of something that other people are going to enjoy in a really, really special way, right? Because the
Hmm.
board game world is so interesting and it's so intimate, and it's got just a lot of heart. Like if you think about this, just really quick, the board game industry lasted through the video game industry.
Hmm.
The video game industry came and it took the world by storm. I mean, everybody plays video games to some extent, whether it's on your phone or on your Switch or on Steam or whatever. But there is a select core of group of people that still prefer to hit the table and just play.
Yep.
And there's even, tabletop simulator, which is basically board games on Steam. So to say that board games will be around for a long time, I really think they will. It'd be ancient Babylonia, man.
Hmm.
They were playing board games, and we're still playing board games today. And I think that it's almost like a rite of human passage to play a board game, whether
Yep.
it's Monopoly or Frosthaven.
I've got actually a video saved on my phone. I believe it's Tom Scott and a Harvard history professor or archaeologist, I think. They dug up this old game from some ancient site and they recreated it. And it was one of the most interesting games. I have the video saved on my phone. It's like 8 years old at this point because I'll go back and watch that, and I really want to recreate it. And I think with 3D printing and stuff, I think it would be a ton of fun to. It's sort of like Mancala, where you're like moving things around based on what your opponent's doing. It's like Mancala in Trouble, where you're trying to go around and come back to your home.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that. Like you said, it's been around forever, and it's just been evolving. And at
Yeah.
this point, we've got, man, every tool under the sun to make board gaming both more accessible and I won't say more fun because not everybody feels the same, but I think more accessible, getting as many people into the scene as possible is something that I think is very valuable for what we're doing here at Forteller, what plenty of other companies are doing as well. And I think the voice actors 100% are making that both more enjoyable because professional people voicing characters that you're going to be playing for hours, and then getting that level of personality, like we mentioned at the beginning. I'd like to kind of transition to a new game that I want to play here.
All right.
I don't quite have a name for it yet, so maybe we'll kind of make a poll or something. Ty, if you will.
What?
Since
What?
you are our first
Hold on.
guest.
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah, sure.
My first time I ever saw a board game besides Monopoly or something like that, my brother was playing Starship Troopers.
You did tell
Hexagon.
me about this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the game I saw after that was a World War II Kill the Nazis board game.
Mm-hmm.
Very young at the time, didn't really understand. It's like chess. I still kind of have a problem with board games unless somebody's right there going, okay, now roll the dice. Oh, look at what you got. Good job. Okay, let's play your game. Let's play the game here
Yeah.
on ForCast.
Whoa, yeah.
On my end, I would like to present you with a scene.
Okay.
So this is going to be a whole soundscape for you, and you're going to try to guess exactly what's going on in the scene. I'm going to give you some audio cues, done with my mouth, because I can. So just listen to the audio cues. I'm going to try to guide you as a director would to try to get you to give me the right answer.
I see.
Okay. So let me see if I can get this for you guys. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, zesty. Is that a gherkin?
Interesting. Okay. So it's kind of like a 20 questions, figure out what it was kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay. Ty, do you have an interpretation first? I don't want to.
Yeah, microwave went off and he opened it up and got whatever was in there, the gherkin, and ate it. That's what I think.
Microwave
I hear the
pickle.
boom, boom. Hey, you deep fry a hot dog.
True. My thing is like somebody's making a toast. So you're like hitting a big glass or something. Boom, boom, boom. And like there's a guy in the corner who's trying to sneak something. He's like not actually in the dinner party. One of the waiters is like, that's great. Was that a gherkin?
It's a gherkin.
Well,
And the answer is
I greatly appreciate those, but the correct answer was eating pickles in a submarine.
Oh, it was the radar sound. Nice.
boom, boom.
I like it.
Yeah.
So now,
Super
Ty,
fun.
Mhm.
you are tasked with this directorial note. Your character is eating pickles in a submarine.
All right. I give it a little bit of distance, makes it sound kind of. See if I can get the echo in on it. Oh, that's a gherkin. Best gherkin I ever had in my life.
Petty Officer Anderson, what are you doing in there?
Eating a gherkin. Touching running away.
And that is how we put together scenes at Forteller.
Yep. If we're ever writing something.
Sorry, man. I like the big open area where I don't have to scream. I have the smaller UR12, so I don't have the bass, the treble, and all the
Gotcha.
little buttons. So I have to actually use my own artistic kind of. Let's back off away from that. But thank you, sir. That was fun. See,
That was a good one.
That's basically improv. And
Yeah.
I love that. I love improv. Thank you for that opportunity.
Mhm.
I'm going to be smiling the rest of the day because of that, guys. That was. I had to do the submarine. Go, Sam, go to Gemini,
Yeah. But that's kind of the idea, I think,
Yeah.
is, we want to have some fun on the show and kind of have some different kind of pieces to the segment and really show off, kind of how voice actors play.
Yeah.
Because when you're a voice actor and when you're trying to learn to do this stuff, I think that there's a lot of play involved. I mean, most of us got probably started doing voice acting by just like messing around with our friends and realizing that we can do a celebrity voice, or
Yeah.
we like to remake cartoon voices. Before the show, we were actually all sitting around making SpongeBob voices for fun. Just because it's a legendary thing to do at this point.
Mhm.
So many great voice actors in that show.
Praise
It's
be
kind
Tom
of
Kenny.
unbelievable. Oh God, yeah, praise be.
Absolutely.
And Adam, I believe we have another game, another little scenario for Ty here, based on cold reading.
All
So,
right.
if you have that script ready for Master Anderson, okay.
All right.
As your director today, Mr. Anderson, I have sourced some materials for you from the greatest places upon this earth. And I'm going to be emailing you here shortly a script that is, in my opinion, just riveting.
Oh.
And I really hope that
Oh,
we
boy.
can get the takes out. So if you guys would just give me one moment, I will
Perfect.
get that over to Ty. But for now, why don't we how are you guys feeling? You want to take like a
Yeah, let's take a
Yeah,
little
we'll take a
break.
little break
if
here
that's
and come
okay.
back.
get
You
some
can edit
water?
this out.
This is a good interlude.
What's
and
water?
then-
Come on, come on, Adam. What's water?
It's brown and carbonated, right?
That's
Oh.
right. And when it dies, it's no good. Throw the
No,
fucker
that's
away
gasoline
there.
at that
We're not
point.
recording. I finally swore at the end. Huh? Not a freaking word of
I got him,
swearing.
though. I got him. We're still
Ah.
recording. I didn't press stop.
Yeah.
Day later, Nader here, letting you know that we have no sponsor for this episode. However, our friends over at Succubus Gaming have their pre-order for Madara the Unintentional Malum available right now on BackerKit from now until May 31st. You can get anything from the Madara Acts 1, 2, and 3 bundle through many of the expansions. And brand new to this run, we have the Lupercalia 2023 Debauchery and Legends bundle, as well as the recently announced Forteller narration for Acts 2 and 3. We have 27 hours of professional audio with the returning and wonderful Julie Shields as narrator, along with a full cast to bring Acts 2 and 3 to life. Check out Madara the Unintentional Malum pre-order on BackerKit now. All right, so we're back from our little break here, and we left off with Ty scouring his emails for some scripts that Adam may have sent over
Some hot
for that.
chocolate.
And that cold read, we were talking about how important it is to read your script, and we're not going to let Ty read his. He hasn't even found his, to be honest. I'm kidding. They're up.
Yeah, like I have people that like me or something.
So one thing that actually hasn't been revealed as of yet is so Mr. Anderson, I am back in my director's voice now, and you're going to find out that this is actually a live audition for you, sir.
All right.
So if you get this character, you will be playing this character in an upcoming game that we have not yet announced. I'm not sure whether or not we're allowed to announce it, so I'm not going to tell you what game it is quite
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
But I will tell you that this character is a human.
Uh-huh.
It is in a fantasy world,
Uh-huh.
and his accent needs to be a little bit German. And I know that you like to have those tight spirals thrown at you. So right now, this is Engelbrecht and his German accent.
Engelbrecht. Dwarfs once explored these mines with the authorization of the Empire. Nobody really knows what their project was because morolite is a useless mineral, and that is almost everything you can find in these mountains. It is said that once a group of dwarfs went inside to change shifts and found all their colleagues dead. Unknown causes. the Iron Hand came blazingly fast and sealed the cave's entrance. Nobody wanted to venture outside inside after what happened. So the strong Imperial seal lasted until recently when those monsters broke in from inside the cave.
Ooh,
All
insane.
right. Yeah. And
I
see,
hate doing the German accent. God, I hate those.
I heard a little bit of Arnie in there.
I know, man, and he's not even
Get me
German.
to the caves.
Yeah, get to the caves. Find the
Get to the
bumblebee.
caves.
Find the bumblebee.
Ow.
Ah, that's my
but as you'll find out, that is the kind of thing that sort of happens when you're first time seeing a script and you basically are given those, little bits of directive. That's what's going to happen.
Mhm.
So
I
now that
didn't warm myself up is what I
yeah,
did. I should have just kind of, you said German, and then should have just kind of found my German accent, which is something you should do
100%.
as a voice actor. Don't go into it thinking you have it like I did. German is just the hardest accent for me to do.
and so Mr. Anderson, we
Yeah.
have done this many times in our chats, where we speak in our German accents for a little while. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this character, he's supposed to be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more scholarly. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do
bring
that.
it something like Hans Lander from Inglorious
Oh,
Bastards.
there we go.
Something like
Okay.
that is
Fine. Fine. So it's more like dwarfs once explored these mines with the authorization of the Empire.
bang on.
Nobody really knows what their project was because mololite is a useless mineral, and that is almost everything you can find in these mountains. There you go.
There
Better?
you go.
Thank
See,
you.
and that's how
You just
sort
had
of,
to give me a guy, and that was the perfect guy, man. That was
that's
the
kind of it's kind of hard to describe that directorial process because a lot of the time that's actually how we do it. We sit around and we make goofy voices at each other until something sticks.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's how it's done at Gearbox
Or like
or
the
at
French
Sony.
Canadian, nah, for the most part there, huh? Do it now and then get the hell out, huh? We send you a check, maybe. We don't like what you do. Oh, you monkey, Scary.
Have you ever had the Quebec pizza? Is the pop tart with the ketchup? It's delicious.
Oh, listen, I work on your teeth, and you tell your mom to come over so I don't know where that came from.
That voice is almost as similar as, oh, I fart on you, filthy English pig dogs.
Yeah, that's a bit. See?
Your mother
That's-
was a hamster, and your
mother
father
was a hamster.
smelled of elderberries.
Elderberries. I fart in your general direction.
I told them we already got one.
See, that's where, as a voice actor and being kind of an older voice actor, yes, I can't do Little Billy anymore, but so what? I can do such a wider variety, and they're not all villains, they're not all bad guys. I got some really good voices. I think I've done some fantastic voices, probably better than with any other company that I've had, working with Forteller. And I have a selection. I used to watch 1930s black and white movies, man. I have all sorts of actors in my lineup. I have the transatlantic accent. I mean,
yeah.
there's little things, and I watch them, and I watch them, and I go, and it's funny because Adam pointed out that all those channels that I spend money on are write-offs. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
but it's
But
that's not the point. The point is you can use so much from so many sources to find voices. I mean, you may not have it. Take a second and think of a character that maybe sounds like that, or an actor, or a person, even a person that that will get you that voice that you were searching for. I love voice acting more than anything on this earth, as far as besides my family. I really do. If I could do this 24/7, well, if I could do this 12/6, I'd be all right.
Well,
and along
it's
with that, the voices and accents thing, it is not something that you will really get any training on either. You might have somebody show you, hey, this is the voice I do, right? But
Yeah.
it's all about finding your version of that. I think Grey Delisle has a really good story about this, where she really wanted to do this Irish voice for a character. And she went in, auditioned for it, and they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to use you as the example for the actual Irish voice actress to come in and do the line.
Oh,
And she's like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do scratch for it. And then she knew in her head, though, she's like, hey, I got this voice down. I know what they want. And so she's got her Irish voice going, and she reads for it. And then when the actual audition comes around, she reapplies, she re-auditions for the character, and they're like, "Oh God, that Irish voice that person did under a different name. She did that."
yeah.
And she walks up. She's, "Sorry guys, I told you I knew what you wanted." So she came back and actually did the lines for them again because she's like, "That Irish voice actor is great, but you don't want a real Irish voice. You want that fake Irish voice for this character."
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Something like that, yeah.
That's right. I love doing the Irish voice. There's so many different versions. You can start getting people that are just like slangy, you know, that's coming around. This coach gonna slap. It's one of those things that I school them,
My
and you're
Irish
like,
voice is not that great. It's
that's
it falls into more Scottish instead of
oh,
a
I like
Irish voice.
Scottish.
This is one of those
Scottish is
times when I wish we
mad.
had AJ on with us.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no,
AJ and
he's
his Welsh accent, something like that
Well,
could.
we'll get AJ on the show one of these times. I mean, he's just itching to talk about his his process being the sound designer that he is. But one thing I kind of do want to just quickly address before we move on to our next little piece is that so I had said that Ty, he generally plays bad guys, and it's true, he does. He plays a lot of great bad guys. Okay, he does. But what I was really trying to drive home there was that if I know that there's a bad guy in a scene and he's a specific kind of bad guy or a specific kind of dude, I know who I can reach out to for that. I'm just saying that with the actor in mind. Now he plays a ton of characters. I mean, heroes, all sorts of stuff. And I can't cast Ty as a younger, heroic character. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense
No,
unless that character maybe eats cigarettes for breakfast. But if that's the
it's
if
so,
that's the
and it's
goal.
that's so anti-voice acting what I do too. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But the actual fact of the matter is that Ty actually has this ridiculous specialization, and he hasn't got to show it off on the show yet. And I want to bring us back to the board game universe and talk about one of our partners, Van Ryder. They created this game called Detective. So as of today, it is actually April the 20th, 2023. It's really hard to get your hands on Detective. And it's a wonderful game for everybody out there. And this is a game that I would suggest for even non-hardcore board game people. It runs the gamut of being a detective game, a social deduction game, a game where you actually have to kind of interact with the parts of the game that are really like kind of meticulously made by Van Ryder. And the reason I bring up Van Ryder is that Ty actually plays a character in there, and his name is Charlie. And Ty has the most ridiculous gangster voice that there is. Charlie.
Oh, that's right. We got to do that voice. He's really close to a personal friend of mine. I like the guy so much that he's actually tattooed on my leg. So
Yeah.
that's pretty damn good. Hey, you you messed with my guy again, and I'm gonna stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Hey. He also
He's
does
being-
a really great Andrew Dice Clay, but I'm not going to let him do it on the show because
that's
you
a little
can't be
different.
the Dice Man without some foul language.
No, I love the impressions, and Christopher Walken just over the years has just naturally comes out. My wife used to say, "God, quit sounding like him." I can't help it. I just got out of the shower. Look at what I'm doing.
I'm making a sandwich.
I'm making a
Barbecue.
sandwich, wiping myself off, and I'm naked. Huh? Let's go have some wine. This is a cravat. I'm gonna give it to you. If you've ever seen Seven Psychopaths, that's a great scene. It's a cravat. Here you go.
But we do want to thank you, Ty, for coming on the show with
Oh,
us
man.
today. It's
Thank
been
you.
such an honor to have you again in the studio, quote unquote.
My
even,
pleasure.
But it's been a very wonderful experience, and I also want to give thanks to Nate Elks, the Nate Keeper himself. If you guys are ever out there on Discord and want to talk to Nate, he's very, very responsive.
Catch me anytime between
so-
12 and 4 a.m. and you got me. Or 12 p.m. and 4 a.m. I'll be on.
Oh, okay.
You only have 4 hours. Get in.
You got a 4-hour window. Get a hold of me. Roll the
But
dice.
goddamn, is that window going to be glorious?
Yeah.
Get in the
so-
wheel, Raggedy Man.
So that kind of puts an end to what we were kind of thinking about the voice acting segments of this part of the show. Nate did such a wonderful job introducing the show that I feel like it's only appropriate that I introduce the next section for us.
I
So
was actually thinking, since Ty is so fond of improv,
okay,
how about we're on a daytime news show. We're going into the next section. We just talked about this, horrible thing that just happened, and we're going towards, either think about like a sports section. You're going to pass it off to the sportscasters, Ty.
All right. Well, it kind of looks like we had a bad game last night between the Grizzlies and the Mavericks that came up, and Jimmy Johnson from the Mavericks got a bad slam on the basketball. It was floored, but we couldn't believe it. The Mavs came back for the big win, and up tomorrow it's going to be the Seattle Mariners taking on the Houston Astros. You got to come out and join this. I think tomorrow is Bat Day at the Houston Stadium, so come on down, bring your family, bring your friends, and enjoy a nice day of baseball down at the Houston Stadium. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. I'm Ty Anderson. We'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you so much, Ty. We really appreciate you being on the scene out there. It's very strange that you're on the scene of those horrible afflicted ambulances and talking about sports. But what we'd like to do is break it down to the next section. So coming up on the horizon, and this is a very important newscast. AJ, kick in the music. All right.
What's that?
that's
Okay.
better.
Hold on. I'll do it
here-
improv.
All right. So what we have coming up next is the Nate Keeper's top 5 Kickstarters of the month.
Thanks very much, Adam. We are here on site here at Forteller, and this is the ForCast Top 5. Now, my first one is something that only has a couple hours left as of the shooting of this episode here, and that is our friends over at Tabletop News, our sister network. I'm kidding. But they have... They have a very well produced show with much higher budget than we have, and they are fantastic. The whole crew over there, they're going to be doing an entire new show run of board gaming, people involved in board gaming, publishers, gamers, people working on everything, and I highly recommend you go check them out. Again, Tabletop News, that is my number 5. They just got funded about a couple days ago, if not just yesterday, and they are fantastic. The next one I want to go over, my number 4 pick, is a game I've played once before. It is called Battletech. It is a mech fighting game, a tabletop mech fighting game on a hex grid pattern. You're going to have your mech, if you've ever played games like Armored Core back in the day, and they've actually got a new one. FromSoft is putting out Armored Core 5 coming out, I think, next year. But Battletech is a mech fighting game where you go head-to-head against your enemies or frenemies, if you want to call them that. You have your giant mech that you've built. It is usually a chassis that you throw your own stuff on, and they've got their new version, new box set, expanding play for the Battletech game of Armored Combat. Over 50 high-quality miniatures, amazing play, and new fiction. So Battletech Mercenaries, they have an amazing showing. They were asking $50,000, and now they're over $7 million.
Jeez.
So
And
Battletech
I personally played
Mercenaries,
that game as well, and it's very good.
it's super fun, and the minis are very high quality.
Oh yes.
On to my number 3 pick. Recently, I played a handful of games at HoosierCon here in Indianapolis, and one of those was Santorini. Santorini is a very fun game where you can play with pretty much anybody of all ages. It has complexity of 6-year-olds up to 60-year-olds if you really want to. Santorini Co-op and a Deluxe Pantheon Edition is my number 3 pick. Santorini is a game where you are an individual architect in Greece. You've seen those pictures of the pearl white buildings with the blue domes on the top. The actual game is named after that location, Santorini. And I could be pronouncing that incorrectly. But you are an individual architect, and you are having some sort of influence from a god. And that god allows you to do different things based on your core actions in the game. The goal is to reach the top, get as close to the gods as possible, and prevent your fellow architects from stopping you and prevent them from getting to the top before you do. Santorini, believe they have an asked goal of $74,239, and with over 8,000 backers and a week to go as of recording, they're over $840,000 in their Kickstarter. My number 2 pick, something I found just before recording this, and it sounds really interesting. It's called Stoneburner. Stoneburner is a solo-friendly tabletop role-playing game of demon hunting and community building in a dwarven asteroid mine. I really enjoyed the video game Deep Rock Galactic. Obviously, that sounds a lot more jovial than this game does, but Deep Rock Galactic really brought out that in character completely separate from my own being. Right? It's something that I can really dig my teeth into. And the campaign for Stoneburner says it's inspired by New School Revolution movements. Players take on a role of a group of dwarves who, after the death of a distant relative, inherit a dilapidated settlement along with its accompanying demon-haunted mine. And of course, we've worked on many previous solo-friendly games, but this one sounds fantastic. I'd love to reach out to these guys as well. Their campaign was asking for just under $3,000, $2,969. Nice. And just over 20 days to go, with 500 exactly backers out of Montreal, Canada. They have 11,729 backed so far. So they're well over their estimated goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for all of that. And the last one I want to pitch out is our lovely friends, my number one, not so much a Kickstarter, but our friends over at Succubus Games. They have the Madara trilogy, the the complete Malum trilogy, I believe is what it was. Ultimate Malum trilogy, I think is what they called it. That includes a pre-order reprint of a lot of their products, Act 2 and Act 3. And that, of course, I have to loop in Forteller. We're doing the narration for Act 2 and Act 3. We are hosting the narration from the wonderful Julie Shields on our current app right now. And we'll be doing a full Forteller production on Acts 2 and 3 coming out soon.
Yes,
right.
and I just want to add a quick disclaimer to that top 5. That number 1 just happened to line up with the recording of this show. We don't generally need to throw our products in with the mix, but in this case, guys, it would be a real damn shame if we didn't mention it, because if you haven't played Madara and you are into those big box board games, it doesn't get much better. I mean, you get everything and more. The story is ridiculous. Brooklyn and Alex have really pulled out all the stops to I've read the story from end to end, and it is something really, really special. And we're gonna do our best to take care of those guys as well. But the real point of the top 5 was to just let you guys know that there are some wonderful Kickstarters on this horizon. And that's, April of 2023, of course. We're going to do our best to try to, keep everybody informed, just because there is a ton of games out there that are coming out, and some of them don't get the attention that they deserve. And there is just some really wonderful things to the board game industry. And we want everybody out there to just have as much access as we do. So thank you guys so much. And thank you, Nate Keeper, for your top 5. I really do appreciate that. And I think, that's where I'm going to say, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yeah, we've had a wonderful time here. Ty, thank you so much for joining
Oh, you
us
bet.
as well.
Now I got to go back to the home and they got to lock me up. What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Until we need you again. We're going to put you back in the hole.
Just pull me back, throw the rope down, and pull me up, and I'll do my Gollum as I'm coming up.
Well, thank you very much, Ty. Is there anything else you want to shout out before we go ahead and end the first episode of the Forteller ForCast?
This was awesome. Thank you for talking with me. You people are top notch. Not only you, Nate and Adam, but everybody at Forteller. Thank you for the opportunity you've given me over the past year, and I look forward to more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody, and look forward to seeing you guys at Gamma coming up as of recording this next week, April 24th through the 28th, I believe. Thomas and Nikki from Forteller will be there, and we'll see you then.
Bye.